Pro Cannabis Media.
Live from the Visual Radio TV studios in Quincy, Massachusetts, it's We Talk Live with Curt Dalton from Cannabis.net and Jimmy Young from ProCannabisMedia.com.
Yeah, I want to actually give you guys.
Here we thought we were going to bring food to us. We're crying out loud. Now we get T-shirts.
So you said
A few articles on Cannabis.net about margin compression. And how I think when this 2 to 3 years out, we're going to see the price of this flower come down, down, down.
Hey. Welcome to another edition of Weed Talk Live. I'm the founder of Pro Cannabis Media. My name is Jimmy Young.
And I'm Curt Dalton from Cannabis.net.
And Cannabis.net and Pro Cannabis Media are very happy to welcome in a new co-host to our program. She did such a great job with us last month that we brought back Hillary King to sit next to us. And, there she is. She's transparent. And you know what? That's awesome. Oh, there we go.
Yes. Some wizardry there.
God, don't we love that, though?
Wizard.
Hey, Hillary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Happy to be here.
And really happy that you are joining us as well. First of all, it definitely brings down the average age of the three hosts, let's just say, right?
We're almost cool.
And the testosterone level,
Yes.
I thought you guys could use a little female touch.
We definitely need a female touch for sure.
Hey.
And, get out the whip. You might want to get out the whip for us. But anyway, I really appreciate you joining us, and I think we'll have a lot of fun with this. Well, again, we want to thank our sponsors. We have sorry I said that word. We want to thank our supporters of Weed Talk, and it is Legal Seafoods, it is the Widgets, and it is Caroline'sCannabis.com. And we will get into a little bit more about Widgets, Caroline's Cannabis, and Legal Seafood. Of course, everybody knows Legal Seafood. You actually saw a little clip with Roger Berkowitz, the CEO, who was on our show earlier in our lifetime. Would that be right? But we've got a lot of guests coming on tonight. We've got a group of people from the Alchemy League who just got their provisional license after a vicious fight over almost 2 years, and they'll be in studio joining us in the second hour. And we also have an entertainer and a comedian and a very old friend of mine named Mike Pettit. He'll be joining us at the bottom of the bottom of the hour here. And we also have an old friend from one of our associates and a affiliate partner of Pro Cannabis Media. His name is Rich Guerra. He'll be joining us in studio as well. So that's kind of our show for tonight. But what do we talk about here? Curt, what do we talk about here?
Events happening today, Jimmy. Events about cannabis.
Yes.
So what's going on today? What's the big news?
It's all things weed, right?
That's true.
It's all things weed. And we've had a few developments in the world of cannabis. In fact, I don't know if we have a breaking. We don't have a breaking news stinger. Right, breaking news. Curt, let's go to our newsroom with Curt Dalton. Curt,
we're here live.
That's right. Tell us what happened with High Times.
So we have High Times. Those of you familiar with the brand, the iconic magazine has been going through some restructuring. Starting last week, naming Stormy Simon from Overstock.com their new CEO.
Wait a second. I interviewed her.
Yeah, well, she's the new CEO. They have a new president.
Wait, hang on a second.
Yep.
Dan French, who's our producer, he and I, we hung out with Stormy. She's awesome. I didn't know that the new CEO.
She's the CEO.
Oh, I think we'll be putting together that interview fast.
Good. Well,
okay.
Good. She seems like she's super excited.
She's an incredible story.
Yes, she is. She does have a good story.
Whoa. The story, rather than tell the story. Go ahead.
Okay, so then we also have a new president that was put in a few days ago, but the big announcement a few hours ago, or at least the press release, was the High Times will be, depending on what my sources are telling me, either licensing or actually buying a dispensary starting in Las Vegas as well as Los Angeles. That will be a High Times dispensary. It will have High Times endorsed products, high quality cannabis products, as they're saying right now, as well as High Times paraphernalia, shirts, stuff like that. Details are coming in from my sources, people wanting to know opinions. There's some inside sources wondering how this would affect someone like Planet 13. I'm going to go and say it affects MedMen more as a battle than Planet 13 itself. But again, this is all happening right now, so we hope maybe we can get Stormy on next
100% the month, okay? Sure. I can tell you this. We have a 15-minute interview, 20-minute interview, including her whole story, on an In the Weeds podcast that we will be releasing in the next week.
Might want to get that up.
Well, no. By the way, this is so right. This is so typical in television and co-hosts. I talked to Curt a bunch of times during the week, and then we hung out a little bit. Right? Did I know that Stormy was the new CEO? No, I did not until you told me.
All right, there you go. Well,
which is very cool. And I will tell you that I'm also proud of the fact that I actually shared a blunt with the CEO.
Oh, boy. There we go. She's not coming on now.
Now
So we'll get the other guy.
That's right. No. That's great news. I'm really happy for her. And I tell you, this is a woman who really came from nothing and now is the CEO of probably the biggest brand in cannabis. Hillary, what is your cannabis story?
My cannabis story. Well, originally I got started as a patient, so I was never a stoner. I was never a recreational consumer or didn't really smoke until...
As a kid, you told me, right?
Maybe like a handful of times in college, but it was never...
And you didn't inhale.
It was never a part of my life, really, and I literally won a DARE award in middle school.
Oh, that's all right.
So now that... the totally different story. But, 27 years old, I became a patient, a medical cannabis patient, where, I was getting prescribed prescriptions and, these other interventions that, just didn't feel natural and, had side effects. And, somebody in my life intervened and brought me to the doctor to get my medical card. And showed me his plants that he was growing for his mother who had cancer, and gave me access to this plant and taught me the beginnings of what I now know about cannabis. And I kind of got woke to the harms of prohibition and the challenges of people accessing cannabis and for medical reasons, and kind of that's how I got involved. I just got passionate about it, and I wanted to kind of help other people see the light and navigate and figure out how to incorporate it into their lives instead of, pharmaceuticals and surgeries and things like that.
And opioids. A friend, actually someone we all know, Mark Shepard, the NECAN guy, one of the co-founders, along with Jeff Lawrence, is having his knee replaced on February 4th, I think it is. I just talked to him today, so why I know this stuff is he and I are having lunch on Monday. I love to drop names, but my story begins at his event in March of 2018 when I took my little... Well, it should have been a tape recorder. It should have been a cassette recorder, given my era, because that's what you used to do as a reporter, is walk around with your microphone and your cassette recorder. But it was the iPhone and an adapter with a microphone, and interviewed Jordan Tischler and interviewed Stu Zakem and met Deirdre Revito, our friend from Rev Clinics. And it's amazing all those people are still part of the world, and they've been supporting Pro Cannabis Media all this time. And... it's nice to look back at that and realize, well, those were really good people, and there are a lot of good people in the cannabis community, aren't there?
Absolutely.
And Hillary, you're one of them, because I've already checked you out. I did due diligence on you, and everybody likes Hillary.
All right.
And you're going to review some products for us a little later, and we're going to get into the innovative mind of the cannabis advocate. Because, Curt, you know this. You've been around longer than all of us as far as in the business. The inventions, how these people come up with different things to either consume or not consume, or there are all sorts of ways to consume.
Yeah, and you're just seeing micro niche revolutions like with the vaping crisis and the things that are going to come out of that with how product is tested, heated, what is it put into. So even though we have these events that are seen at the time as a negative, it leads to new discoveries as far as how to take in the product safely. So that there will be good things that come from that vaping.
And once again, I forgot my Widget. I'm sorry, but I can explain what that is. It's basically a four-piece pipe-looking device that has a 4 filtration system in it, and basically it takes the temperature of the bowl and the cannabis flower that you would ignite with a butane, a lighter. It's a lighter. It's a Bic lighter. And we'll explain why I'm smiling, because I didn't know what a wick was. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm old school. And it takes it from, I believe, a 1,300 Fahrenheit temperature down to 80 degrees when it goes into your lungs. So it's a cooling effect. It actually it feels on the draw like a vape. So it's nice and easy, and then off you go, and it gets out all of those filters. Easy to clean it after every use, because it's really easy to do that. And you have replaceable filters and replaceable screens. And the screens are like colanders, little teeny weeny colanders. I'm sure you understand. I'm sure people out there who are weed enthusiasts understand what I'm talking about. And it's a great little product. And by the way, I don't know, we need a drum roll for this, but if you decide to make a purchase on Widgets.com, that's weed, WEED, Gets, GETS.com. This product was developed by a registered nurse, Beth Dost, and a biomechanical engineer who has done very well in the medical device world. And they combined their knowledge and they came up with this system. It's a filtration system. And again, a perfect example of another invention. We've got a few other inventions, kind of little ones that we're going to talk about too. Okay. But that's it. Now let's go to the news. Besides High Times,
yep.
Okay, there was a few other things that happened in the news of cannabis, and it does. I think the first thing we're going to talk about is the proposed regulatory and tax reforms in California, looking to make life simpler for the marijuana businesses. Now, there's a proposal out there. Massachusetts has had 1 year of adult use of cannabis and sale of cannabis. Every state has a different law. And if you look at California, they've been doing it longer. I think they've had medical cannabis first and then Colorado and Washington State. I'm not quite sure. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, California's had it for like 25 years.
95.
The
I think it was 1995 with Steve D'Angelo right in the middle, right?
So
right in the
people
middle.
don't know that. Like California's had medical for decades. And
right.
It's been smaller, but they started it.
Do you think they know that 80% of the illicit market comes from the Emerald Triangle, though?
Absolutely. They're very aware of that, yes. Everyone is, actually, yes.
And this is the crazy thing about this, the historical end of prohibition of cannabis. You can look at the mature markets, but even in those mature markets, you have a vibrant, illegal, illicit, black, gray, whatever word you want to use to describe it, market going on. Hillary, you got any insight on that? I think you might.
The traditional market, some would say. I've heard it called recently the legacy market. Yeah, there's a whole culture, and a whole, local network of the cannabis industry that, I personally have never shopped at a dispensary in Massachusetts. They don't. I'm not trying to start paying retail prices plus taxes, which I would happily pay taxes if the prices would fall.
But you had a medical condition, I thought.
Yeah, but I used a caregiver
Aha.
and then became one myself as well and learned how to grow my own. So
Gotcha.
there are other ways to get your cannabis than going to a dispensary.
Right.
Dispensaries are great and they provide a lot of benefits, such as, all the safety screenings, you know exactly what you're getting. It's all tested. But many people have their networks that they know and trust. They know their grower. Where do you think people have been getting their weed from for
the parking lot
for decades? It's like this is a fully functioning
Where are you getting your
industry.
weed from for the last 20 years, or Jimmy?
parking lots,
Right?
basically. It's where I meet people. Parking lots. But you're right. You've got to learn trust. And that goes to the whole culture of cannabis, even before it became legal. There was a socialization factor of it. If you were committing an act of civil disobedience by breaking the law, by partaking in this product around the corner in the back, and another stranger was there, you would share. You would say, hey, you want a hit, right? And then you become weed brothers.
It brings people together.
It totally
connects
does.
people, yeah.
And it brings people together because, as my Rastafarian friend told me, it's all about the plant, man. Mm-hmm. It is. It's the plant. And there are people out there, like the Rastas, who embrace this plant as a savior in many ways to so many ills that we've seen in our world. And I'm on record and ran it by a few doctors and oncologists thinking they definitely prohibited the wrong drug in 1937. And you can look at that and say, wow, we've been looking for what caused cancer, what started cancer. Well, when you take a product that is it engages with a endocannabinoid system in all mammals that basically balances your neurotransmitters for your pain, and it enhances your immune system. You take that away from 3 generations, 1937 to now, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think is going to
Your
happen?
body is going to be more susceptible to the carcinogens that we see in our environment on a daily basis. But because it had no fight, it had nothing going for it. And for some reason, I'm still healthy. I know that sounds weird, but I mean,
You look great.
thanks. I appreciate it. Thank God. It's all I got left.
45 looks good on you.
Yeah. Right. About 17 years ago. Was it 27 years ago?
Cannabis,
Who's
the anti-aging. Right, exactly.
So one of the things Hillary's going to do for us, besides talk about cannabis and some of the news, is you're going to have a few product reviews. And, people, I hope at some point when we build our audience and our following, people will enlighten us about the latest thing that's on the market, whether that is and I'm not going to promote dabbing, but if it is a rig of some kind, back in the day, it was rolling joints, a pipe, and a bong. That was pretty much it, right? And, of course, bongs are water pipes, and that's how we did it back then. Now, you've got a million different ways to do it.
So many different ways.
And a lot of people, when I first went into the medical dispensary that everybody knows about that is just outside of Boston, I'm not going to name them because I'm going to rip them here. The patient, I said to the patient advocate who was behind the counter as opposed to the bar, and I said to him, I don't want to smoke it anymore. I just don't want to smoke it anymore. What other ways are there? I walk out of there with tincture, edible, suppository. No, not a suppository.
Walking differently.
But a pill, a capsule. And I experimented with different ones, and I had a chocolate bar, and I took too much of the chocolate bar, and I had a really bad edible experience because I think most people who have enjoyed this product, when they try the edibles for the first time, they have an edible story.
Well, it's easy to take too much, if you don't know exactly the potency. There can be hot spots where it's not thoroughly mixed in. If it's not labeled and tested, like, how do you really know? Yeah, you can easily have a bad experience if you eat a little too much of a brownie or...
Right.
Yeah.
And one of our dear friends on this, I'm not going to name his name, but he told me a great story that he went to an event that had brownie bites, and he didn't realize that they were infused brownie bites. So let's just say that he had an experience.
Yeah.
Wait, what if he walked into an event and he didn't know they were brownies? He just thought they were giving out
regular
brownies?
It's just they look like
was
brownie
it a Grateful
bites.
Dead show or
they
something?
Tasted like brownie bites, and
I didn't know.
And because of the delayed reaction when you take it into your system that way,
about an hour or two.
Everybody feels like, I got to take more because I don't feel it because they're so used to. Well, I know if I smoke it and I take a hit off a bong or a hit off a joint, I'm going to get high. I'm going to feel immediate. Right? I mean...
And about how long it's going to last. It's a little more predictable.
Definitely. In fact, not only is it predictable now, Hillary, but you can actually grow specific DNAs. You can dictate the DNA of a plant. You can make it hemp. You can make it totally impotent. That's what I call hemp. Or you can make it for focus, help you to sleep. Or it can... kill your pain. I mean, there can be more CBD than THC in it. It's an amazing thing to me that at this day and age, you can actually go see a cannabis expert like our friend Dr. Ryan Zachlin, right? And he can prescribe to you a plan of the type of cannabis and how you should partake and intake with it. And it blows my mind. But think about it. It's a medicine. Most people in this country, and there's more states that have... agreed to start medical cannabis campaigns than adult use. That's changing. I know there's a news tidbit that I want Curt to get to about that because that's how my mind works. Mm-hmm. What's the news tidbit about a new state coming on board, and what's the tote board in a certain state?
We're up to 20 million in 12 days, and that's not an overnight 24-hour dispensary. There's only certain working hours. So
that's in Illinois.
That's in Illinois, yep.
And they already ran out of weed.
And they're running out of weed, which obviously expected. This is how it goes, and then they're going to issue provisional licenses, and more people will be allowed. Okay, for now, let's just do this, but give them 6 or 8 months. Remember, the plant grows in 12 to 16 weeks, so by the time they get through a few cycles and they figure out how much is the black and the gray market doing, and then how much is the legal, and they'll get there in 6 or 8 months. They'll have it figured out.
And I like the fact that you can go now to a licensed dispensary and know exactly what you're getting, exactly where it was grown, exactly the effect that it's supposed to do on you, even though we all know it affects everybody differently. That gives me peace of mind. It just gives me peace of mind.
And I think we'll see, too, like, there is still quite a large illicit legacy market, but as the culture and the perception around cannabis shifts, as it's becoming more legalized, it's the people who didn't touch it before that are now going to start to try cannabis, that are going to start at dispensaries. And I think, over time that'll shift.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see it a lot longer than I'll see it, and not as long as Curt will see. Well, anyway. All right, so we've got Illinois. A lot of governors in many other states are lobbying now for adult use in New Jersey, New York, New Mexico, and a few others as well. Hillary, let's get to the product because, if there's one thing that freaks me out about this business is when you ask, and a businessman comes up to you and says, okay, what's your core customer? What do they look like? You're talking 21 to like 95-year-olds. It's really that vast, right? And there are so many different ways to use this product medicinally or for adult use. And I don't use the R word and I don't use the M word. And I bet you guys both know what the R word is and what the M word is. But let's talk a little bit about your product. Tell me about it. What is it? What is it? What does it do? How does it work?
It's called the Smoozy, and I came across this in Vegas at MJ Biz.
And it's the only thing. It's the only thing you bought at MJ Biz.
The only thing I bought. I almost needed another suitcase to bring home all the freebies and the swag.
I was going to say, okay.
No, but all the stuff that you get at the convention, these booths are just handing stuff out, and many of them are selling things too. And of course, a bunch of vendors tried to sell me stuff. There's a lot of cool things that you can find, but this was the one thing that I was like, all right, take my money. It's really cool.
And it wasn't a lot of money, was it?
No, maybe like $12, something like that.
That's not a lot.
Really reasonable for what it is. So this is what it is. It's the Smoozy. It was in my pocket. You didn't even know. That's how small it is.
Oh, look at that.
So it's kind of like a modern, updated take on the Dugout, on the one-hitter.
Oh, just so happens, speaking to the old school dude, I got my one-hitter right here. Here, I'm going to show you this.
Classic.
It is kind of like me, which is another word for old. Okay, I can handle that. It looks like a cigarette. You dig it in, you get one hit out of it, you take a few puffs, and you put it away. And it's...
Oh, wait, let's see the difference here. So go ahead, do that again. There.
There you go. Good job. Compare and contrast.
There's
Side by side.
1977 and 2020.
Yeah.
He went to Star Wars, the first one, with this.
That's actually accurate, huh? Sorry.
Love it.
It's a junior at Tufts University.
Sorry, yep.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. So it comes in all kinds of different fun patterns and colors, solid colors, and also like some really punchy ones like sugar skulls and tacos and stuff like that. So there's something for everyone, but it opens just like this with one hand, which I thought was really, really nice touch. And my favorite part about it is the loader. Yeah. So that's what this is.
Yep. Turn it so we can see. There you go.
Learning.
There you go. Yep.
So this is how you load it. So you just kind of put the opening on this funnel right underneath and click it in. And then see how it's like a nice wide mouth. So when you use a grinder.
I know what a grinder is.
Yeah, so to try to pour from the grinder directly into that little chamber, next to impossible. But this is a nice wide mouth, so you can just pour your ground flour in there, and it comes with a little pusher to pack it in, and that's it. And then you're ready to go. So this is great for like out and about. Super slim, like for comparison. Also, this is a lighter that I carry around. Wow. Also, because it's so slim, and it's like about the same size.
Now, it's interesting, the vape thing. We've been talking about the vape thing a lot, right? The C-cell ceramic heated units that are out there. They're very small. They're very convenient. And when you vape, it doesn't smell as potent as smoking it, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair to say. But, this is such a small amount. That's what's great about a one-hitter, too, is like it's just a little micro dose. So you're able to kind of moderate and kind of titrate. Sometimes you don't want to smoke a whole blunt to the face. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you just want a little sip.
I was going to say, and you can't smoke a full pre-roll joint. You can't. I know people are, I can. You know what? It's a lot. Right,
it
Curt?
is, yeah. So
we did that in Jamaica.
I was going to say, as a peak in Jamaica, I think would testify for it.
When in Jamaica.
Right, exactly right. An incredible experience, yeah.
So another cool thing about this that I want to mention is on the bottom, there's a little, it's kind of maybe hard to see on the camera here, but there's a little tool built right in to clean out the ash.
That's
And
great.
it's never going to clog. They say it's guaranteed not to clog. So.
Wow. Well, that is not true
They took your
about
money.
the old school one.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you,
Definitely not.
Because right now it's pretty clogged. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought this was really cool. You guys can check it out at smosey.co and use the code WeedTalk for 15% off. And shout out to Paul, who hooked me up with that discount code and sold me on the Smosey
There you
at
go.
Vegas.
So we got the
You know?
Smosey, we got the Widget going
Yeah.
on here, and now I find another product that a buddy of mine created, and we've only got a few minutes.
Show them the spell.
SMOSI.
Now they
There you
go.
go.
Go to the
Now
internet
you go.
website.
You can
They-
follow
Good
them
job,
at
Curt.
smosey_life on Instagram.
That's right. And we're going to hear more about Smosey, and we might actually get Paul on the phone on our next show, too,
All
to
right.
talk a little more about the product, because I got to talk to him, too. But I want to talk about this little thing here. I'm going to put it right here.
The pre-pack,
It's called a pre-pack, okay? And it's made out of glass,
borosilicate.
okay? And I understand, I was supposed to get an email from a certain somebody. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but Austin Davis is the founder of this, and this is the highest quality glass that you can get in America. It's an American product.
These are all made in the U.S.
USA, okay? And basically it holds 0.25 grams of flour, and it has a little cap on top, so it too has a portable kind of quality to it. And it's a B2B product because you could put any kind of a logo on it and it becomes, a self-enclosed thing. Okay, buy a pre-pack, great for concerts, I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
And extremely popular north of the border in Canada. They are knocking it out of the park, these kids. I call them kids because I've known him since he was born. But I'm not going to throw him under the bus for not sending me the email, or if he did, it went into my spam folder. What can I tell you? So this is called a pre-pack. It's all part of the new normal for cannabis in our world. Yes? Yes.
Yes.
Hillary did a great job on the Smosey. First half hour goes very fast.
It does.
And I want to thank you. We're going to see you again with Richie
Sounds
Guerra
good.
at the back end of the show. And in the meantime, we're going to welcome in Mike Pettit. He's coming on in the next half hour, so don't go away. Weed Talk with Curt and Jimmy will continue in just a few minutes here. We're live now, but guess what? We got a podcast of this stuff, too. Woohoo!
We are Pro Cannabis Media.